Lily's heart raced as she held the cream-colored envelope in her trembling hands. Her dream had come true. She had been accepted into the university she had admired from afar for years. The name alone sounded like magic. Blackthorn Academy. A place that promised knowledge, opportunity, and a chance to prove herself. She never imagined that stepping onto its ancient grounds would mean entering a world far stranger than she had ever imagined. The road leading to the campus wound up the mountains, twisting and turning through thick forests, where mist clung to the ground like a living thing. As the bus crept upward, Lily pressed her face to the window. The academy's towers appeared through the fog, tall and jagged, their dark stones glowing faintly under the sun. Gargoyles perched on the edges, and flags, black and silver, flapped in the cold wind. It was breathtaking, like stepping into a painting of a place older than time itself. When she arrived, the main gate opened with a slow, creaking groan, and Lily stepped through, clutching her bag tightly. The courtyard beyond was enormous, lined with ancient oaks and cobblestone paths that seemed to twist in strange, confusing ways. Students moved gracefully across the stone, some walking with the confidence of royalty, others whispering in corners with eyes that shone too brightly, too sharply, to be ordinary. Lily hesitated. A shiver ran down her spine. There was something different about these students. Some smiled in ways that didn't reach their eyes, and others seemed to vanish at the edges of her vision, only to appear seconds later, somewhere else. Her excitement wavered, replaced by a quiet sense of caution. A tall, pale boy with silver hair approached her, his movements smooth and deliberate. "You must be Lily," he said, his voice deep and velvety, yet carrying an edge that made her pulse quicken. "I'm Damien. I'll be seeing a lot of you around." Lily nodded, unsure if she should feel nervous or fascinated. Something about him was magnetic, though she couldn't explain why. His eyes were sharp, almost predatory. Yet, there was a strange kindness hidden beneath the intensity. She wondered briefly if he had always been there, watching her from the moment she arrived. Before she could speak, a girl with chestnut hair and warm brown eyes hurried up to her. "Hey, I'm Marin. You're new, right? Don't worry. It's not as scary as it looks. Mostly." She smiled, but her gaze flicked nervously toward Damien, who was now watching them silently from a distance. "Just be careful," she added softly, almost as if she were afraid someone or something might overhear. Lily blinked. "Careful? About what?" Marin hesitated. "This place isn't like other schools. People, things, aren't always what they seem here. Some of us are born different. Some are older than you can imagine. Just keep your wits about you." Before Lily could ask more, the bell rang. A haunting chime echoed across the courtyard, carrying in the cold mountain air. Students scattered, moving swiftly to their classes, leaving Lily standing in the center, feeling both awe and fear. She swallowed hard, realizing she had just stepped into a world she didn't understand, a world that seemed beautiful, deadly, and impossible, all at once. Her first class was in Elder Lore, a massive hall lined with towering bookshelves. The walls were carved with runes that seemed to shift when she looked away. The professor, an elegant woman with eyes black as night, introduced herself as Professor Selene. Her voice was smooth, hypnotic, and carried authority that made the students sit straighter in their seats. "Here," she said, "you will learn more than any ordinary university could teach you. History is alive, and knowledge can protect you or destroy you." Her gaze swept across the room, lingering for a fraction of a second on Lily. "Choose carefully what you learn, for some truths are dangerous to those who are unprepared." Lily felt a chill run through her. Was this warning meant for her? She wasn't sure, but she resolved to stay vigilant. Later, in the library, she tried to calm herself by studying the books of history, magic, and myth that towered on endless shelves. One volume, bound in black leather, called The Coven of Shadows, drew her attention. She opened it and began reading stories of ancient pacts, secret societies, and beings that could walk in shadow and move faster than the eye could follow. Her hands trembled slightly. Were these just myths or warnings? Her thoughts were interrupted by a whisper. "Careful with that book. Some knowledge is better left unread." Lily spun around. Damien was there, leaning casually against the doorway. His eyes glimmered in the dim candlelight. "Not all of it is safe," he said softly. "Some truths can change you, or destroy you." "I can handle it," Lily said, more bravely than she felt. He stepped closer, and she noticed the faint scent of something earthy and cold, like rain on stone. "Maybe," he murmured, his voice low and magnetic. "But be warned. This place doesn't forgive mistakes, and it has a way of revealing who you really are." Before she could respond, the bell rang again, and Damien vanished as silently as he had appeared. Lily's heart pounded. What was he? Why did she feel drawn to him even though something about him frightened her? Night fell, and Lily returned to her dormitory. The corridors were silent, except for the soft echo of her footsteps. She caught glimpses of shadows moving along the walls, shadows that didn't belong to any person she could see. She told herself it was her imagination, yet a cold wind seemed to brush her hair, carrying whispers she could not understand. She lay in her bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking of Damien, the strange students, and Marin's warnings. Something about this place felt alive, as if the very stones watched her. And somewhere deep down, she knew her life would never be the same again. Then, in the quiet darkness of the night, she heard a sound outside her window, a rustle, like someone landing softly on the ground below. She crept closer, peering out, and her breath caught in her throat. A figure stood in the shadows, tall and elegant, silver hair glowing faintly in the moonlight. His eyes met hers, piercing and intense. Lily felt a shiver run through her body. She wanted to look away, but she couldn't. "You shouldn't be wandering alone," he said, his voice almost a whisper carried by the wind. "Not here. Not yet." Lily's throat went dry. Who are you?" He smiled faintly, a shadow of mystery and danger in the curve of his lips. "Someone who should not exist. Yet I do. Be careful, Lily. This university is not what it seems. And some things, some people, are far older and far darker than you can imagine." Before she could answer, he melted into the shadows, disappearing like smoke in the night. Lily's heart raced, and a strange thrill mingled with fear coursed through her veins. She knew in that moment that she had entered a world of secrets, power, and danger. A world where her choices could change everything, and where nothing would ever be ordinary again. And as she lay awake that night, she could not shake the feeling that Damien, or whatever he was watching her. Still, waiting, testing, and perhaps already shaping her destiny. Outside, the moon cast a silver glow over the ancient towers. Somewhere in the distance, a wolf howled, a haunting sound that echoed through the mountains. And for the first time, Lily realized that her dream university was alive. Alive with secrets, alive with danger, and alive with things she could never have imagined. The next morning, Lily awoke to a chill that had nothing to do with the mountain air. The previous night's encounter with Damien, and the whispers in the corridors, had left her uneasy yet strangely captivated. She dressed quickly, pulled her hair into a messy ponytail, and stepped into the academy's courtyard. Mist still clung to the cobblestones, curling like soft smoke around the ancient oaks. Students moved silently, their eyes glinting with something that seemed inhuman. Marin was waiting for her near the fountain. "Morning," she said softly, noticing Lily's distracted expression. "You look like you didn't sleep." I didn't, Lily admitted, glancing around nervously. I saw something last night. Damien. He wasn't human, was he? Marin's face tightened slightly. No, he's not. And neither are some of the others. There are vampires, werewolves, and things you wouldn't believe. The rules here are strange, dangerous, and the professors, they can see more than you think. Lily shivered but nodded. I think I understand. Kind of. Marin smiled faintly. You'll learn fast. Just don't wander alone at night, and avoid taking anyone's word at face value. Some students enjoy testing newcomers. Their conversation was cut short when a bell rang, echoing through the courtyard like a ghostly chime. Lily followed the other students to Combat and Control, a class held in an open courtyard surrounded by high stone walls. Here, magic and physical skill blended in strange exercises that challenged both body and mind. The instructor, a tall, muscular woman with eyes like amber fire, began the lesson. Today, she said, her voice firm, you will learn control. Control over your body, your mind, and if you are capable, your innate power. Lily frowned. Innate power? She whispered to Marin. You'll see soon enough, Marin replied. Some students here were born with abilities. Others awaken them over time. The students began their exercises, moving with supernatural speed and agility. Lily struggled to keep up, her human limits making her clumsy beside others who could leap higher, run faster, or bend shadows around them. She felt exposed, ordinary. And yet, something stirred inside her, a spark of determination. As she stumbled through a difficult drill, Damien appeared beside her, his presence sudden and unsettling. You're trying too hard, he said softly. But there was no anger in his tone, only a strange intensity that made Lily's pulse quicken. I want to keep up, she admitted, trying to steady her breath. He tilted his head, studying her. Ambition is good. Recklessness is dangerous. Learn the difference. Before she could respond, he vanished, leaving behind only the faint scent of rain and stone. Lily shook her head, feeling both frustrated and intrigued. She didn't understand why his presence affected her so deeply, or why his warnings carried such weight. Later, in the Library of Shadows, Lily discovered the more secret side of the academy. Endless shelves stretched toward the vaulted ceiling, filled with books bound in leather, silver, and occasionally, darker, unmarked covers. Whispered voices seemed to echo between the shelves, as if the walls themselves remembered every secret ever told within them. She found a book on bloodlines and old pacts, flipping through pages that described centuries-old treaties between vampires and werewolves. Alliances forged and broken, and curses that punished those who interfered. A chill ran through her. Fascinating, isn't it? A voice murmured. Lily jumped, nearly dropping the book. Damien leaned against a shelf, his arms crossed, watching her. Some knowledge is dangerous, he said softly, though his eyes betrayed curiosity. But I see why you're drawn to it. You have a rare affinity. My affinity? Lily asked, confused. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. You're not ordinary, Lily. Something about you resonates with both vampire and werewolf energy. That's why you were accepted. The academy doesn't take just anyone. You could change the balance here. Lily's mind spun. Change the balance? What do you mean? He looked away, expression shadowed. There are forces at play you don't understand yet. Some want to protect you. Others might want to use you. Be careful who you trust. Before she could ask more, the bell rang, and he disappeared as silently as he had come. Lily's heart raced, torn between fear, curiosity, and an unexplainable pull toward him. That night, She went to the courtyard to practice alone. The moon hung low and red, casting a strange glow over the academy's towers. As she moved, attempting the drills she had learned earlier, she sensed movement behind her. A pair of glowing amber eyes appeared in the shadows. Ronan, a werewolf student with broad shoulders and an easy, protective smile, stepped into the light. "You shouldn't be here alone," he said. "The grounds are unpredictable at night, and some students are not as welcoming as others." "I'm trying to learn," Lily replied. "I want to survive here." Ronan nodded. "Then I'll help you. Just promise me you'll trust your instincts. This place, it tests more than your strength. It tests your heart." They trained together under the moonlight. Ronan was patient, guiding her movements, helping her harness her energy without strain. Yet even as she felt safe with him, a part of her mind wandered to Damien, wondering what it was about him that made her feel both terrified and alive. Suddenly, a rustle in the trees interrupted their practice. A group of older students emerged from the shadows, their faces hidden in hoods. One of them, a vampire, stepped forward, fangs glinting faintly. "New student," he said, his voice cold. "Playing with the wolf? How amusing." Lily froze. Her hands trembled. Ronan stepped protectively in front of her, his form tensing, a low growl rumbling in his throat. Before the confrontation could escalate, Damien appeared, moving like smoke through the shadows. In a blur of speed and shadow, he intercepted the group, his presence overwhelming, yet controlled. "You're wasting your time," he said, his eyes glowing faintly. The older students hesitated, sensing something ancient and powerful in him. Finally, they retreated into the night, melting into the darkness, like mist. Ronan let out a relieved breath. "You really are something," he said, impressed but wary. Lily felt a rush of conflicting emotions. Fear, relief, gratitude, and, inexplicably, a pull toward Damien, who now stood silently nearby, watching her with eyes that seemed to see into her very soul. "Why do you keep saving me?" she asked him, her voice barely above a whisper. Damien's gaze softened, just for a moment. "Because someone has to. And because you're not like the others. Be careful, Lily. The world here is more dangerous than you can imagine. And the longer you stay, the more you'll be drawn into it." Before she could respond, he turned and vanished into the night, leaving only silence, shadows, and the faint scent of rain. Lily shivered, knowing that her life was changing in ways she could not yet understand. Back in her dorm, Lily lay awake, her thoughts racing. She felt stronger, braver, and yet more vulnerable than ever before. The academy was not just a school. It was a test, a labyrinth of power, secrets, and forbidden lessons. And at the heart of it was Damien, dangerous and mysterious, pulling her toward something she did not yet fully comprehend. And somewhere in the distance, a wolf howled, answering the call of the crimson moon. Lily knew then that her journey had only begun. She had entered a world of shadows, magic, and danger. And the choices she made next could determine not only her fate, but the fate of everyone around her. The storm had been building all day, heavy clouds rolling over the mountains and casting a shadow across Blackthorn Academy. Lightning streaked across the sky, illuminating the ancient towers in brief, silver flashes. Lily hurried through the courtyard, clutching her books tightly, feeling the wind tug at her hair and clothes. Something in the air felt charged electric, dangerous, and full of secrets. Ronan met her near the fountain, his expression serious. "The truce between the vampire and werewolf students is fragile tonight," he said. "There's tension. You need to be careful." Lily frowned. "Why? What's happening?" He hesitated, running a hand through his dark hair. "Some students are testing boundaries. Others are looking for weaknesses. You, his eyes softened when they met hers. You're attracting attention. You need to be careful who you trust. Before Lily could respond, a shadow moved across the courtyard, sleek and silent. Damien stepped from the darkness, his silver hair plastered against his face from the rain. His gaze swept the area, sharp and commanding, as if the storm itself bent to his will. "You're here," he said softly, but his voice carried weight. "I told you to stay cautious." "I can handle myself," Lily replied, trying to sound braver than she felt. He studied her for a long moment, his eyes glowing faintly under the stormy sky. "You think you can. But this place doesn't forgive mistakes. And not everyone wants you to succeed." The tension between them was palpable. Lily's heart pounded, torn between fear, curiosity, and an inexplicable pull toward him. She wanted to ask why he seemed so dangerous and yet so protective, but before she could speak, a howl tore through the storm. A group of rogue students, half werewolves and half vampires, emerged from the shadows. Their faces were grim, eyes glowing, and their intent clear. They were here to provoke, to test, to claim dominance. Lily's stomach dropped. She had never felt this level of danger before. Ronan stepped forward, placing himself between Lily and the intruders. "Step back," he growled, his form shifting slightly as his werewolf instincts awakened. The leader of the group laughed, sharp and cold. "You've been warned, little wolf," he said, motioning toward Lily. "This human doesn't belong here." Before Ronan could respond, Damien moved like liquid shadow, stepping between Lily and the group. His presence was overwhelming. He radiated power, control, and centuries of experience. In one swift motion, he disarmed the leader with a motion so fast it was almost invisible, his voice low and dangerous. "Leave her. Now." The group hesitated, sensing the power in Damien. Something ancient and terrifying radiated from him, and even the strongest students felt a shiver of fear. Slowly, they melted back into the shadows, leaving Lily trembling, but unharmed. Ronan let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. "You are something else," he said, impressed but wary. Lily's mind raced. "Why do you keep saving me?" she asked Damien, her voice barely above a whisper. He looked at her, his expression softening, almost imperceptibly. "Because someone has to. And because you're different. Be careful. This place isn't just a school. It's a test. And tests can be deadly." The storm raged on, and Lily felt her emotions tangled fear, admiration, and a growing fascination with Damien. She didn't understand why, but she felt drawn to him, even as every part of her screamed that he was dangerous. The next day, Lily's classes became even more intense. Alchemy and ancient magic required students to harness energy in ways she had never imagined. She struggled, fumbling with her spells and incantations, her hands shaking. "Focus," Damien's voice whispered in her mind, or was it in the room? She couldn't tell. Suddenly, her movements aligned, her energy flowing smoothly as if guided by an unseen hand. She opened her eyes, startled, to see him standing at the doorway, watching her with that same piercing gaze. "You have potential," he said quietly, "but potential without control can destroy more than you imagine." Lily nodded, feeling a surge of pride and fear. She didn't fully understand her own power, but she knew it was growing. And with it came attention, both protective and predatory. Ronan caught up with her later, concern etched into his features. "You can't rely on him," he warned gently. "Damien. He's powerful, yes, but he's dangerous too. He's centuries old. His kind." He stopped, shaking his head. "Just be careful, Lily. Your heart is not something to risk lightly here." Her chest tightened. She appreciated Ronan's concern, his warmth, and steady presence. Yet she could not deny the magnetic pull she felt toward Damien, the way his power seemed to shield her and challenge her all at once. She didn't understand why she was drawn to him, but she could not resist. That evening, she wandered the campus under the silver glow of the moon. The storm had passed, leaving mist and puddles that reflected the towers like mirrors. She felt the pull of the shadows, a whisper of magic guiding her steps. And then she heard it, a soft, haunting melody drifting through the trees. Damien emerged from the darkness, standing beneath a gnarled oak. The wind tugged at his cloak, lightning illuminating his sharp features in fleeting flashes. "You shouldn't be out here alone," he said, though his tone held something more, something personal, almost intimate. "I needed to think," Lily replied, stepping closer. Her heart raced, and she felt an odd mixture of fear and longing. He studied her, his eyes glowing faintly. "You feel it, don't you? The power inside you, and the danger it brings. You are not ordinary, Lily. And soon, the world here will make you choose." Her voice trembled. "Choose what?" He stepped closer, and she could see the depth of his eyes. Centuries of experience, longing, and pain. Between survival and desire, between safety and truth. The words lingered like a spell. Lily realized then that her feelings for him were more than curiosity. They were fascination, fear, and something deeper she did not yet understand. Suddenly, a shadow flickered at the edge of the trees. A rival vampire student stepped forward, fangs glinting, eyes cold. "You've been warned," he said. "Step aside, human. This doesn't concern you." Damien's form shifted slightly, his presence radiating danger. "Step back," he said, voice low, commanding, and full of centuries of authority. The rival hesitated, sensing a force beyond ordinary comprehension. Finally, he retreated into the darkness. Lily's heart raced. "Why? Do you fight for me?" she whispered, voice barely audible over the night wind. Damien's expression softened, just for a moment. "Because you matter," he said, "and because what happens to you will change everything here. But be warned. Not everyone will survive the trials to come." As he vanished into the night, Lily felt the weight of her situation pressing down. She was no longer a simple student. She was part of something far bigger, something ancient, and something dangerous. The bonds she would form, the choices she would make, they could change the balance of power at Blackthorn Academy forever. Back in her dorm, Lily lay awake, the candle flickering shadows across the walls. Her mind replayed the night the storm. Damien's words, Ronan's warnings, and the rival vampire's threat. She realized her heart was being tested as much as her strength, and that the dangers here were as emotional as they were physical. Somewhere in the distance, a wolf howled, answering the call of the crimson moon. Lily shivered, knowing that her life at Blackthorn Academy had become more than just education. It was a journey into power, temptation, and betrayal. And she had no choice but to walk the path ahead, whether she was ready or not. The air was thick with anticipation. Blackthorn Academy had never felt so alive or so dangerous. The morning sun broke through the clouds, but even its light could not chase away the shadows that lingered in the corners of the ancient towers. Whispers of tension echoed through the stone hallways, and every student seemed alert, aware that tonight would not be ordinary. Lily walked with Ronan, feeling the weight of the previous nights pressing down on her. The lessons, the confrontations, the pull she felt toward Damien, it all culminated in this moment. She could no longer pretend she understood the world she had stepped into. And yet, there was a strange calm in her chest, a determination that had grown stronger with each challenge. "You need to trust yourself," Ronan said, his eyes scanning the shadows. "This night will test everyone. But it's your choice how to face it." I don't know if I can," Lily admitted softly. Her gaze drifted to the castle towers in the distance, where Damien's presence seemed almost tangible, like a shadow moving against the stone. "You can," Ronan said firmly. "You've already survived more than most students ever will. But remember, not all battles are fought with strength. Some are fought with heart." As night fell, the academy transformed. The towers glowed under the crimson moon, the air thick with magic and tension. Students gathered in the courtyard, the atmosphere crackling with energy. Whispers of old rivalries and forbidden alliances floated like sparks in the wind. Lily could feel her own power humming beneath her skin, a strange warmth that both frightened and comforted her. And then, she saw him. Damien stood atop the steps of the main tower, his silver hair glinting, eyes like twin moons. His expression was unreadable, a mixture of centuries-old wisdom, longing, and something that made Lily's heart ache. "You're here," she whispered, stepping forward instinctively. "I promised I would protect you," he said, his voice low and resonant, carrying across the courtyard. "But tonight, it's more than protection. It's survival. For all of us." Before she could respond, the shadows moved. A group of rogue students, emboldened by the night, emerged from the edges of the courtyard. Their eyes glimmered with malice, their intent clear. They would challenge the truce, test the boundaries, and use Lily as a pawn if necessary. Ronan stepped in front of her, shifting slightly, his form tense with readiness. Damien's eyes flickered with power. In a heartbeat, he moved through the shadows, placing himself between the rogues and Lily. "You will not touch her," he said, his voice carrying an authority that made even the boldest hesitate. The confrontation was electric. Power radiated from Damien and Ronan, an unspoken command over the energies of the academy. The rogue students faltered, sensing something far older and stronger than they had anticipated. The wind whipped through the courtyard, carrying whispers of centuries-old pacts, forgotten promises, and hidden powers. Lily felt her own energy respond. The warmth in her chest spread outward, her instincts sharpening. She realized then that she was no longer just a student. She was a force in this world, a bridge between vampires and werewolves, a key to balance. One of the rogue students lunged forward, but Damien intercepted with impossible speed, disarming him with a single motion. Ronan protected Lily with unmatched agility, his presence steady and reassuring. "You're stronger than you know," Damien said quietly, stepping beside her. "But strength without control can destroy everything." "I'm ready," Lily said, her voice firm despite the storm of emotions inside her. She felt the pull of destiny, the weight of prophecy, and something else, a deep, unspoken connection to Damien, that made her pulse quicken. The rogue students realized their intimidation had failed. With a final, furious glance, they retreated into the shadows, melting into the night like mist. Silence settled over the courtyard, broken only by the distant howl of a wolf. Ronan exhaled slowly, relief evident in his posture. "You did well," he said softly. "You kept your head and your heart in the right place." Lily's eyes found Damien's. The storm inside her had calmed, replaced by clarity. She stepped closer, drawn to him despite the danger, despite the centuries that separated them. "Why? Why me?" she asked, voice trembling with emotion. He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Because you see the world differently. Because you care. Because you have the courage to face what others cannot. And because you've changed me." For a moment, the chaos of the night, the ancient rivalries, and the dangers of the academy fell away. All that remained was the pull between them, a connection forged through trials, fear, and understanding. I was scared, Lily admitted, voice barely above a whisper. Damien's eyes softened, centuries of guarded pride melting in the warmth of her words. And you will. Together, we can end the old cycles of fear and hatred. Together, we can create something new. Ronan stepped back, giving them space, understanding that some battles were fought not with claws or fangs, but with trust, loyalty, and love. The crimson moon reached its peak, casting a red glow over the courtyard. Lily felt a surge of energy within her, a resonance with the academy itself, with its magic, and with the powers that Damien wielded so effortlessly. She realized that she was no longer just a student learning to survive, she was a force capable of shaping the destiny of those around her. Damien took her hand, their fingers intertwining. Tonight, the academy has seen your strength. But this is just the beginning. There are still shadows lurking, secrets to uncover, and choices that will test your heart. Lily nodded, feeling a mixture of fear and exhilaration. I'm ready, she said firmly. Whatever comes next, I won't run. I won't hide. The night grew quiet, the storm fading, leaving only the soft whisper of wind through the trees. Somewhere in the distance, the first rays of dawn began to touch the towers, casting long, silver shadows. Lily looked at Damien, her heart steady, her mind clear, and a sense of purpose filling her. You've changed me too, she said softly. He smiled faintly, a rare warmth crossing his features. Then, we've both found something worth protecting. The academy seemed to exhale around them, as if acknowledging the shift. The truce between vampires and werewolves held for now, and the ancient pacts, fragile and delicate, seemed less ominous under the glow of their newfound understanding. But even as the first light of dawn broke over Blackthorn Academy, Lily felt a subtle stir within her. A pulse of power, a whisper of destiny, and the faint echo of challenges yet to come. She knew that her journey was far from over. The academy, with its towers, shadows, and secrets, had accepted her not just as a student, but as a force that could change its very foundations. Damien stepped closer, pressing his forehead gently against hers. Whatever happens, we face it together, he whispered. Lily smiled, a sense of calm and courage filling her. Together, she echoed. And somewhere in the distance, a wolf howled, answering the call of the crimson moon. Lily closed her eyes, feeling the strength, the love, and the destiny that awaited her. Blackthorn Academy was no longer just a school. It was home, and in its shadows and light, she had found not only power and survival, but a connection that could withstand centuries.